Today on the program, Super Committee fails to come up to an agreement, and the Democrats are walking away from Occupy Wall Street.
And we learned that watching Fox News only makes you dumber.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
Hello and welcome to the program. I am your host, Fat Man.
And I'm Littleboy.
Littleboy, I'm back.
Yes, you're back. How was your road trip?
The trip was great. It was long. We did about 6,000 miles, crossed the country back and forth, and got to see a lot of neat places. Really interesting, Notre Dame. We actually spent quite some time there.
That'd have been cool. I would have liked to have gone, actually. I think that would have been cool.
You should have come.
Yeah. Did you do all the driving, or did you guys trade off?
Nope, I did it all.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was fun. We spent some time in Arkansas, spent some time in Texas.
Did you happen to make it by the presidential library there?
I actually went to President Clinton's hometown of Hope. Yeah. And I am happy for him that he's not in Hope anymore. That town is quite scary.
Yes.
We spent some time in Little Rock, not very long. No, I didn't get to see the Clinton Presidential Library, which I wanted to.
You should have. I've been to two. I went to the Reagan and the Nixon because they're both close by, and I enjoyed both of them. I thought it was great.
Well, the Reagan Library is really interesting. I've been to Truman, been to, Eisenhower. I'm trying to think of who else, but they were in the middle of the country. Yeah. So, but on this trip, then on the way back, we spent some time in Midland, Texas, where President Bush is from. His library isn't open yet, but you got to see the size of that place. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Here it's going to be pretty large.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty big. And then just talking to people across the country, doing my food reviews. As many of you who follow me on Google Places, it's Fatman, Fatman. Did all my food reviews on there. I'll put a link on my Twitter account. Oh, by the way, we should talk about that.
Yes, we both. I finally, just like the automotive industry and maybe the mail. I'm a little bit behind on the times. I finally got into Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have, and yours is
at Littleboy Show, and you are at Fatman Show.
Yep. And I was tweeting on there. Matter of fact, I think we'll pop up Twitter right now. So I have it.
All right.
So what'd you do while I was gone?
Well, we did the one remote show, which was actually kind of fun. It was kind of neat to do. The audio was a little bit rough, but for the budget that we have, the large budget that we have, I think we did pretty good.
Well, actually, it's funny because our budget is gone. We have zero budget. Yeah. So
it's good though because we haven't lost any money because we started with zero budget.
Yeah.
So
and that works out well. Well, we have some
we're break eveners.
We have sponsors on our website. If you watch through our website, you'll see we have sponsors on the website, and we would love for you to click through on those and show our support to our sponsors. And thank you for helping us with that.
That helps us out a little bit.
It does.
Got to do a lot of clicking before we start seeing some money, but
Well, it's not that. It's just that they help us with all the different web services. So, Google gives us the phone number, and we have another Twitter accounts that are all free too. But again, boy, we have a lot to talk about though, don't we?
Yeah, I wanted to. We got a new listener.
Oh, okay.
I know it seems like we get. I am amazed at how many people actually listen to our show. To be honest with you, I really am. You and I have talked before. Honestly, the more listeners is great and everything. I personally do the show because I enjoy doing the show. What we're doing on the show is what we did normally in our lives. We usually just did all this through texting.
We used to do our text fight.
Right. We used to text fight, and now we just, fight in front of a camera, But Becca A. Hello, Becca.
Well, hello, Becca.
She is a new listener, and she recognized my voice, actually. Somebody else was listening to it, and she actually recognized my voice. So,
well, Becca, I'm sorry you have to listen to Littleboy, but you do have Fat Man here who can tuck you in at night.
Yes. No.
No.
No. No. She. I think she agrees with me. She doesn't like the Fat Man. She likes the Littleboy.
Rebecca, thank you for listening to the show, and I will work my hardest to change your idea here. So what do you want to talk about first? We have a whole bunch of things, but I know you're saying...
We have a giant list of things that we won't get to everything. There's one thing I wanted to get to.
Go for it.
We got an email that was addressed to both of us, but they had asked me a couple questions. I wanted to try and address that first.
You want to go right into emails?
I want to go right into the emails.
Do it.
You want to go ahead and read it?
Okay, sure. This email is from Don and Carol. It says, "Hey guys, I want to tell you that my wife and I really like your show. We stumbled upon it through a friend of ours' Facebook page. Thank you very much for showing us on Facebook. I think Fat Man said we can get to the show through DirecTV, but how? I can't find it there." Okay. On DirecTV, if you go to Smart Search and you type in Fat Man and Littleboy, it's PhatmanAnd, Littleboy.com, Fat Man and Littleboy, excuse me, all one word. Hit search. It'll pop up and it'll give you two things that you can search from. And there'll be a YouTube link. If you click on that YouTube link, you'll be able to find all our shows that way. So hopefully that helps. So he said, your help would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. I hope you get that through there. As to my question, it is to Fat Man. Before your show, I guess you research your topic, but does Littleboy? I ask because it seems that you have more knowledge of the events. The next question is to Littleboy. If I ask a question, will you answer it? I ask this because it seems you seem to dodge all the questions of Fat Man, which is very much true. You know, I had to add that to it.
Of course you did.
If this is what the show is supposed to be, I'm sorry. I just don't understand. Well, our show is two friends, as it says on the front, that just, we're friends. We love to talk, and that's kind of how our show is. But he asked me the question, do I do research? Yes, I do. I do. I read a lot on the internet. I watch a lot of TV. I don't just watch Fox News because that's what Littleboy wants you to think, but that's not true.
Yeah, he does.
As our show notes can show, we don't. But I do. I like Fox News. I like a lot of the different outlets, and I do research. I have no idea. So your question is, does Littleboy? Well, I can't answer that for you.
Well, first thing that I wanted to address is, our show is about just two guys kind of fighting, and this is, you've only got to. I don't know how many of the shows you've watched, but you've got to witness just a few of our times, and we've been doing this for years and years and years. Now, if I went and one of the this big research that you think that Fat Man does is mostly just coming forth and spewing Republican talking points. And if I went through and I went and got all the Democratic talking points and we just went back and forth on that, we would be doing Hannity and Combs, and that's not what I wanted the show to be about.
No,
the show. I like the fact that you go and you do your air quote research that you say you do, and you kind of spring stuff on me, and I just like to kind of react to it. I like to just
kind of. That's the way it's always been.
That's the way we've always fought.
That's it. That's how we.
And that's kind of what the show is going to be about. I didn't want to go. I could go and I could do all the reading, and like I said, to me it would just be boring. So we've been doing this for a long time. I don't have time. He'll throw out a lot of different numbers and facts. He throws them at me at that moment. I mean, what am I going to do? Sit on the internet and search them all, make sure they're all right? They're not always right.
Well, the show note. I mean,
I'm not talking about the show notes. I'm talking about when we actually get deep into a discussion and you start throwing numbers and you start throwing figures out there. Sometimes they're right. Sometimes they're not.
How do you know?
Because when we go back, well, I have a great example of that. When we had our argument on God in the classroom.
Well, yeah, but I did because that's what I researched.
Right.
And then the next week we changed it.
But you talk about how deep you do all this research and stuff. I went and did a little bit of research after that, and I couldn't find anywhere where it said that this guy was a history teacher. Anywhere. I'm not saying that you didn't find somewhere that said he was a history teacher. What I'm saying is everything out there said he was a math teacher. Everything did. And if you had done real extensive research on that, that would have been obvious to you. And I just actually listened to this show this morning while I was at the gym. And your whole argument, you just kept saying, but he's a history teacher. He teaches policy. You kept saying things like that, and none of that was true. None of that was true. But when you say things, you say them, you're very, very, convinced that what you're saying is true. On the other hand, when I make my arguments, you'll hear a lot of, well, I'm not sure, but I think, because if I'm not sure, I'm not willing to say that I am sure. Whereas you really feel so strongly about it that you just come across like you know, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes the information you have is wrong.
So the question he's asking then is, if I ask you a question, because it says if
well, that's the next question.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so on the first question, well, as far as the God in the Classroom, every single piece of our show is backed up with a link. That link allows us, that's what we're doing on the computers, to read the articles that we are on.
Although that particular show, I don't think we were doing that yet.
Yeah, we were. We were doing this from day one.
Because I don't remember seeing that. Okay, well, I don't remember seeing anywhere where he was a history teacher. I couldn't find that, and I searched and I tried to find something, and
it's even hard to find that information anymore. They're not even talking about they're still in court, and you can't find.
Well, everything that I found on it was math. Clearly said he was a math teacher.
Anyway, so I did read that he was a history teacher. Okay. And I also read that on top of that, not only was a history teacher, his next door neighbor in the classrooms is the classroom next door, and I'm sure you saw that. It was a world history teacher, and he was allowed to do the Quran and everything else. And we talked about that. Now, did you find that in there?
That's not what I was looking for. When I was looking
you didn't find that, but that was all part of the same article that we.
But what I was looking for particularly was what he taught, because you had made such a big point that he was a history teacher.
But you don't know for sure if that article was there, because it was there.
No, I'm not saying it wasn't. I never said it wasn't. I'm saying I couldn't find it, and I even said that at the beginning. I said I'm not saying you didn't find an article that says he was a history teacher. What I'm saying is, had you done extensive research like you always say you did, you would have found he was a math teacher. That was pretty easy to find, and you didn't, which is fine. If you I don't do a whole lot of research. I'm not going to sit here and say you should, but you don't always do as much research as you say you did, or you don't always do as much research as people think you might.
Oh, maybe.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Maybe. But most of the topics we talk about,
there is an article to back them up.
Yes. Of the topics that we talk about, there's something to back
We always do, and you do post more than me on the show notes. I add stuff, but when I contribute, I put an article on there too.
But that's it. We don't just pull stuff from nowhere.
No, you are right. We do have a backing article. You're correct. Okay, you are correct on that.
All right.
Okay, so let's go on to the
research that we do. Now, the next question is, if you ask a question, will they answer it? I want to answer this.
Well, I want to answer it first.
Well, hold on. I want to just say one thing to this.
Okay.
All right, because you had your 20 minutes of trying to bash me, and this is not to bash you.
I wasn't trying to bash you, anyways. I wanted you to see my perspective. I have a different perspective than you.
You do, of course. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a great show.
No, it would be a boring show.
It'd be a boring show. Here's the deal. I got to tell you something about Littleboy. It's not that he, by himself, ducks questions. He doesn't. If you look at history, and even in debates, every which way you go, there's always two different sides. Republicans always come out, and conservatives always come out with facts and figures. That's kind of the way. No, I'm not being mean.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, but we don't think on the philosophical side, philosophical side.
I see what you're saying.
Democrats think on that way. So one of the things that makes this country so great is people are different like that. Because if everybody was numbers, it'd be boring. I do like seeing the weirdos. No, I had to add that. But I do like, and so I see what they're asking about this. They're asking, why you don't answer questions. But if you find, he does answer some questions. He's afraid that I'm going to trap him. I don't know why.
I'm not afraid. You ask questions like, a question like, have you stopped beating your wife? That doesn't have a.
See,
I know.
And what's
I use that as an example.
You use that as an example all the time, but I would never do that. That's a childish question.
And I just use that as a general idea. You ask questions that have, I have I've been listening back through some shows while I've been running, trying not to die on the treadmill. We've talked about that before. And I swear, I'm not saying I haven't, but I can't find an actual question that I didn't answer. The best I could come up with was when you had asked the Bloomberg question, Mayor Bloomberg. You kept saying, when we were talking about the 911, do you remember? We were talking about the 911 ceremonies they were going to have on opening day football, and you had said he is not allowing certain guys to speak.
Right, he's not.
And you said, what gives him the right? And what I do sometimes when you ask a question that doesn't really have an answer, is I sometimes answer it with another question is like, because you ask a specific question and it's, so what you said was, what gives him the right? And I said, what gives anybody the right? You know? That's kind of how,
though, that is the way you are. You do answer questions with
But
questions.
I haven't. I do that sometimes, but I've been listening. You can go back and listen. We don't have a whole lot of shows right now, and you can go back and listen to them. And I would love, I'm sorry, Don and Carol Hollister, I would love to find a question, you know, ask me a question, and I would love to answer it. If I haven't answered it, I would love to, you know, if I have avoided the question, email it to me. I got a new email address.
Oh, you said their last name.
Oh, well, they said they don't care.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Right. We can beep it out later if we decide to. We had to do that last episode, too.
Yeah, we did.
But Littleboy at fatmanandlittleboy.com just got an email address straight from me. So if you want to ask me, I would love to answer your question. If you think that I've missed one. And if I have, I'm you know, I apologize. I don't really try to avoid questions. Sometimes I feel the questions are the way they're worded. It's not really a fair question, and sometimes I do answer it with another question, and maybe sometimes I'm avoiding it too. You know, maybe that is the case, and I'd love to hear it. I've been listening to a few shows. I haven't really heard that. You know, and now I'm listening with a little bit of a biased ear.
Well,
I'm listening with my own. But if you find one that I haven't answered that you'd like to hear answer, I would love to hear it, and I will answer it on the air, or I will avoid answering it on the air.
And Don and Carol, we do thank you for your email.
Yes.
I again, I don't know. You know, it seems like sometimes you kind of get beat up on these. And,
no, that's okay. I think that the majority of our listeners are Republican. And they're going to agree with you, which is fine. That doesn't bother me.
Well, of course, because
you know that's how.
Right
that's how, well.
But actually, you know what? I invite some people to put me on point. You know, because I'd like to do that.
Doesn't bother me. And you know, it's funny when we first got this question emailed, you had said, we don't have to do this on the show," and I actually wanted to. You know, I really do. I don't mind. You know, hit me with your best shot. I'd love to. I love to hear stuff. I like to hear people who you know, disagree with me or think that I'm avoiding things. I'd love to hear the answers. You know, but bottom line, our show, we always, you know, we like to argue about stuff, and you know, if we just push, you know, we've done shows where we that we weren't really proud of, or not. I don't want to say we're not really proud of, but we've done a show or two that we look back and we said, you know, because I think that we need to. I like the way it flows, you know.
Sure.
You know, and as much. We do show notes and all that type of stuff, but we honestly do zero prep. You know, once we get the audio and the video and stuff, once we get all that set, we start the show. We don't do any like, okay, we're going to talk about this, we're going to talk about that. This going into the email, you had no idea that we were going to do this first. I just threw that out there because that's one of the things that I really enjoy about the show is the fact that it's, you know, very, very raw.
Spontaneity.
Yeah. You know,
but can we start getting into some of our show notes? Because I think we're into like 25 minutes banter.
You know, with this new system, we got a new system again. Oh, you know what else we need to talk about is we're going to be building a new studio.
Oh yeah, you know, let's do some stories.
Okay,
and then but don't forget that because I want to talk that we are going to be moving into a new studio.
So what are we going to? What do you want to do first?
Let's do the super committee. This is one that you sent up today during the pre-show. Okay, we do have a pre-show on the day of the show, but it's not prep. It's just that this is what I want to talk about. This is what you want to talk about.
All we do is just mention topics, and honestly, for the most of the part, I will browse the title of the article. I don't do a whole lot of research.
But that makes it fun.
That's what makes it fun for me. That's what I actually enjoy.
And me, on the other hand, I like to read everything about it because that makes it
fun
from
the Republican side.
Well, of course. But this is from CNN, and everybody knows who's on the Republican side. CNN is a little bit more to the left.
Yeah, just because the article's from CNN doesn't mean that. Okay.
I know, but I do read CNN,
and
you always give me stuff on that.
Right.
Super committee fails to reach an agreement. As you know, the president asked 6 members of both parties in Congress to come together on the new budget cuts that are supposed to take place in 2013. This article that's in CNN, I played it. It was a small airplane manufacturer that they were talking about and how they're nervous about cuts. They're nervous that they're going to lose their funding and stuff. And I totally understand that they didn't come to an agreement. I kind of wish something would have happened out of that because it was completely well, I'm going to say bipartisan because, you know, it was 6-on-6. They should have come up with something.
Well, it seemed to me like the Democrats made all the movements and the Republicans weren't willing to budge. Of
course you'd say that. The thing is, the Joint Committee could not come up with the amounts of cuts. Now, we all know, okay, I'll put this out there, little boy. Where do you think the Republicans lie on cuts?
Well, they want to not do anything with taxes. They want it to be all cuts in spending.
Well, but the president wants that as well.
No,
the president said the president will, and I think he will, because this is not going to pass.
Now, I did read something here. The Democrats offered a package that it had a ratio of 83-17 spending cuts versus tax increases. 83-17, and the Republicans said no. We want it all. We are not going to move. We want all. We're not going to budge. We're not going to compromise. We want all. And if we don't, that's fine, because we do not want Obama to accomplish anything. And that is our number one objective.
I don't think so.
Complete failure of this administration.
No. Let me tell you
yes,
why.
It is.
The president will, I believe, now if this didn't pass, he will do an executive order and extend the payroll tax cuts. I believe he'll do it. He said today he's thinking of it, and he will do it. Now, that is something that is extremely... I mean, that would be what the conservatives want. They obviously want the tax cuts. Now, do you understand what the cuts really mean? Every year, say you have an economy, I'm going to use extremely tiny numbers. Say you have an economy of $100, okay?
I read something about this.
The cut isn't to that $100. Every year, it grows by so much. So say it's going to grow by 5%, so $5. The cut is of that $5. So it's not actually to cut the money spent this year to be less than next year.
Right.
It's to curtail next year so that it doesn't grow longer. Now, when they say cuts and everybody starts to freak out and get all upset, oh, we're going to lose this, we're going to lose this. No, you're just not going to get the increase that you want. And that's the difference between cuts.
One of the things that needs to maybe be done, too, that the Republicans don't really want to move on is they maybe need to cut a little bit of the defense budget.
No. Here's the thing. You don't cut what you have now. You curtail spending for next year. So you just don't increase it.
Yeah, but they don't want to cut the increases on that either. And maybe we need to look that way too.
I would never suggest, nor will I ever suggest, we cut spending on defense.
Well,
10 years, we've been pretty safe. The rest of the world hasn't been so safe from us,
that everybody,
but we've been pretty safe.
I think that everybody can tighten their belts a little bit, and I think defense can also.
The problem with defense is as soon as you start cutting defense, you start weakening our defenses.
Not necessarily.
I could see curtailing price. I could say, hey, look, you're not going to get your increase next year, right? But I wouldn't say, hey, you got to cut.
Another thing I heard is one of the good things that came out of nothing happened out of this is if nothing is done, then the Bush tax cuts expire after the year 2012, which would save us a ton of money. That would be great.
Well, actually, if it expires, then the Constitution says we have to do an X amount, and that would cut in. The Bush tax cuts are part of the payroll tax cuts, and I do believe that Obama will continue those.
Yeah.
He talked about it today. I have no. The president will do it. He's not going to turn around in January 1st and have your paychecks cut.
This is one of those things that I don't have the exact numbers, so I'm not going to pretend like I did. But I thought I read something where even 67% of people who currently have income over $1 million a year think their own taxes should be raised.
Really?
I think it was that high. And I'll do some looking, and maybe I'll have the numbers, because I remember reading that, and I was like, wow. Why are we not doing this then? Why are we not doing that?
Personally, I don't like tax and spend. You know how I feel about the government anyway. You know what I mean? I don't want the government to take anything of mine because I could take care of myself.
Yeah, but you drive on roads and you do all that other stuff,
exactly,
and that's all.
But I already pay for that. I pay that out of gas.
That's what the taxes are for. They're for all of that stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You have there's libraries and there's all of that stuff.
Well, I don't care about the libraries.
But that doesn't matter. Just because you don't care about it doesn't mean they're not needed.
No, but you know what? You could turn around and say, hey, you know what? Instead of library card being free, you want to use library, you pay subscription.
But that's not what the idea is. The idea is they provide that.
The idea is socialism.
They provide that to you.
I understand what you're saying.
Well,
yeah, I understand what you're saying.
It's providing services.
If I want to go use a library, which if I did, hey, you know what? Library card should be $20 a year.
It's not all about just what Fat Man wants.
No, but the thing is,
You can, because you can afford that, and some people can. It's good. It kind of makes things even. For the people who can't buy books and can't own a computer, they can go down to a library and use that, and that's provided. And that's good. That's good. That makes it a little bit more even. It's not as even because it's not in their house. Even?
Why does it have to be?
Because
what I want to know is, why do you... Okay, you work for an extremely wealthy family here in San Diego.
Okay.
They've been around for years. We're not going to use their name, obviously.
Of course not.
They have been... I
don't know how... I don't want to use the word extremely wealthy. I have no idea how much money they have.
Not extremely.
I have no idea how much money they have.
They're a good family, and they have done a lot for the community.
Yes, they have.
What do they owe you?
They don't owe me anything.
You're right. So why would you take some of their wealth?
I'm not taking any of their wealth. I'm not taking any of their wealth.
Well, they make more than $1 million. So
then why should their percentage of what they're paying be less than what I'm paying? And it is.
They pay more than you pay.
They
don't
why
owe
should
you
their
anything.
Let me tell you something.
You work for them, okay? They pay you every week. That's it. There is no reason. That family worked extremely hard for what they have. There is no reason that they should turn around and give more, because they give dollar signs more.
But percentage-wise, they're giving less. And why should they? Why should they?
Because they employ you.
But that has nothing to do with it. Why is it the fact that they make more, so they have to pay? Let me tell you something. If you make $100 a month, let's use real easy numbers. Let's say you made $100 a year, and you paid 20% of that in taxes, and somebody else made $500 a year, and they paid 10% in taxes. They said, well, I pay more money than you. But you're paying that 20% that you're paying hurts you more because you're paying 20% of your income. Why can't they pay 20% of their income too?
Okay.
Why not?
Because I'm going to go through this right now.
Okay.
Why don't they pay that 20%? Because they have write-offs, correct?
The loopholes. Not write-offs, loopholes.
Write-offs.
No, loopholes.
Okay, loopholes then. One of the loopholes is, hey, if you employ 50 people, you're going to get a tax break.
But why aren't they paying...
Now those 50 people that they employed all pay taxes. See, so what happened is you're paying their payroll, you're paying them. They give you the money you pay.
You're not paying them because you're generous. You're paying them because they are working for you. They are doing something for you.
Exactly.
So they are helping you.
But if I turned around and
they are doing something you can't do on your own.
Had no incentive at all, and they could outsource or do anything else because the incentive is gone, wouldn't they? And I would tell them do it.
Why should they be allowed to outsource? What does that mean?
What do you mean allowed? Who tells them if they're who are you to tell them they're allowed or not allowed to outsource?
When you say outsource, I'm talking like hiring people from outside the country.
Sure.
Why should they be able to do that? The money's in the United States. They're getting. Why should they be able to hire somebody outside the United States?
Okay, very good. I like this point you're making. So instead of doing all that, the government says, don't do that. What we'll do is we'll give you incentive not to do that, so that you employ more Americans at jobs.
They shouldn't have to give them incentive. Why don't they just say, you are not allowed to hire people outside the United States. You're going to pay the same percentage.
What is this, Stalin?
Yeah,
Stalin? Okay, no, you know what? If you're going to start a company here in the U.S., you do it the way we say it.
No.
That's it.
You do it by hiring people from in the United States. You don't farm work out.
Who are you to say the government can tell you that's what you have to do?
It's not me telling them. That's the way it is.
That's not the way it is.
It's the way it should be.
That's not capitalism. That's not. That is socialism.
This country doesn't even have capitalism. It's not a capitalistic country anyways. It's like crony capitalism anyways.
See, you just do not see it, do you? Not in any way.
Not the way you do. That's for sure.
I see that people who work very hard, they did everything they could to make money, and they built.
They don't work any harder than I do. And most of the people now didn't even build that company. Most of the people got that company.
Oh, so now they really don't deserve it because they got it.
I'm not saying they don't. I am not saying they don't deserve it. I'm saying they don't deserve to pay less taxes than me. They should pay the same.
I tell you what, they could pay the same taxes you are, percentage that you pay. If you pull all the incentives off the table, they would. They would. That's it. You're right. They would pay more. But let me tell you who wouldn't have a job. You.
I don't think so.
Oh, they would find a way to outsource.
Well,
they'd have to. You don't understand what it is to be in business because you hadn't had a business. I understand that. But the thing is,
That doesn't make you right. Just because you look at it from your...
No. I'm not saying
you just look at it from the right side of the table.
But you cannot even see what I'm talking about?
I understand what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I just don't agree with what you're saying.
All right. So they don't owe you anything. But yet you still think that they should...
They don't owe me any more than I owe them. I go and give them an honest day's work every day. I am loyal. I am honest.
You are.
And I do my job to the best of my ability.
And they reward you for that.
They don't reward me for that. They give me what I deserve. That's not rewarding. That is not them doing me a favor.
Wait, what do you think?
I give them, then I reward them by working for them.
Exactly. It's a give and give situation.
Right. So then why should they have it better than me? Why should they be better? Why should they have better? Why should they have better? Why shouldn't they have the same?
They don't have better.
Yes, they do.
They do better by giving more for more. You don't.
Why can't they pay the same? Why can't they pay the same as me?
They do pay.
They don't.
They pay more.
They don't.
Okay. Do you understand payroll taxes?
They
don't want to stick.
I'm talking about. I'm not just talking about business. I'm talking about personal. I'm talking about personal income.
Okay.
Somebody who makes $2 million a year does not pay the same percentage as me on their income.
We're good. You know what? I don't want to go back into this again because it's absolute brick wall with you because you do not see.
I feel the same way as you.
No, you don't. You think that.
I think that I'm speaking to a brick wall as well.
Yeah, because for you, it's everybody should be the same, kumbaya. For me, it's if you work harder than the next guy, you deserve.
No, that's not what they deserve. That's not how it works, though. That's not how it works in the United States.
That's the way it is.
No, it's not that way. It is not that way. You don't get rewarded for working hard.
Wary Democrats keep business from Occupy protesters. Now, here's the thing. Keep distance from Occupy. What did I say?
I thought you said keep business. I said I never saw that.
No. Distance from Occupy protesters.
When I listen again, I'll see what you said. I think you said business.
Oh, well... No.
That's why I said, what did you say?
Okay. Associated Press, once again, not using Fox News. This is Associated Press.
Okay.
All right. So, have you been following the Occupy Wall Street? Now, when it first started, I don't know what was... Again, I've been confused. You say that they're going to come out with all this stuff in November.
They were supposed to come out with... Well, they're supposed to come out with a platform in November. I don't know.
Platform. But that kind of went away.
Well, it's still November, so we don't know if that's went away or not.
November's over in, 3 days? We don't know what's really going on here.
Do you know how a calendar works?
Or whatever it's over. I don't... The exact date...
See, that's another thing with you just throwing numbers out there. November is not over in 3 days.
Okay, how many days is it over here?
Like, what, 9, 10?
No. No.
What's today?
Well,
the 22nd.
The second the day it is.
I can tell you what the day is.
Why? Anyway, so whatever. November's over in a few days, all right?
I think it was 3. I think you just said the same thing.
Now, what has happened here? We're getting violence. We're getting rapes. We're getting drug use. You haven't heard this? You haven't heard that they put up a special tent in New York for the women who are to be protected from rapists? You haven't heard that? That has been all over the news.
Okay. I haven't heard that.
Oh, come on. You haven't heard that.
A special tent for rapists. I have not heard that.
No, not for rapists, for the women to protect them.
I haven't heard that.
You really haven't?
No, I haven't.
Oh, no, it's no joke. That's actually true.
Right.
Anyway, so what's going on here? They're starting to become violent. We saw what happened to UC Davis a couple days ago against the police.
Is that where that wasn't where the police were spraying those guys sitting there doing nothing with pepper spray, was it?
If you are told that you need to do something, but when you say violence, they were just sitting there, all right. And you say violence, them just sitting there is not violent. That is definitely escalating, and I think that police officer has been placed on administrative leave. I'm not positive. Not be. And I didn't ask what you think he should be. Of course he will, but I think that he's been placed on administrative leave. I think I saw something about that. So the Davis thing. But
that is them escalating the situation.
These people here, law enforcement are actually making it worse.
I think there are some law enforcement that are making it worse. Absolutely. I'm not going to generalize that statement and say they all are, but I think that there are some.
Do you think the Occupy protesters are the same peaceful protesters that happened 2 months ago?
I think that there are some. I think there are some bad apples. Just like with every, whenever you get a group this big, you are going to get bad apples.
Well, the group is getting smaller, but what's staying in the group is exactly why the Democrats are starting to distance themselves. At the beginning, I mean, everybody knows.
Nobody's really aligned with the Occupy protesters.
Well, at the beginning, there was a couple of senators. I don't have, the exact name, so I'm not going to say it, but they were talking, hey, they're out there doing their thing, blah, 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 blah. Now they're turning around and...
Well, there's one senator that's actually, I think it was a senator or a congressman, I believe, that actually... put forth something on the floor for an amendment. That's one of the things that they're asking for, is that amendment to not allow corporations to have the same right as people, for campaign contributions and stuff like that.
Oh, well, but this, I'm talking about the protesters.
Yeah, but that came from that. That's one of the things that they're looking at. That's one of their biggest.
Then they got
that's one of the biggest things that they're talking about, is the fact that the country is bought.
Well,
our politicians are bought.
But that's not what's happening anymore. Yeah, okay,
yes,
good.
That is what's happening. That's what this whole country is.
No, I'm talking about the protesters. I'm glad that some of the things are changed. I do believe.
Well, nothing's changed yet.
Are changing, but the thing is, I think the Occupy movement has now turned into people defecating on the streets. Now, tell me you haven't heard that.
Sure.
Drugs. Arrests are going up. There's 175 arrests alone in New York last week. They're trying to go into Wall Street.
175 arrests in New York last week doesn't really seem like they're a lot. There's thousands. There's thousands.
Well, there's a couple of thousand of them there, but 175 people were arrested because they attempted to block traders from going into.
Yeah, and you're going to have and that you got to remember that.
So I have a question. For you. I want you to go back to Tea Party stuff. Do you remember during the Tea Party rallies anything like this getting to this point?
I don't, but I'm going to tell you, I swear to you, I paid so little attention to the Tea Party stuff. And you and I were kind of doing one of our little text fights about that, and you kept insisting. I paid so little attention to the Tea Party stuff. I didn't really know too much about what they were even about. I just didn't. I wasn't interested in it.
Well,
so I didn't. So I can't answer that. I'm not avoiding the question. I can't answer. I don't know. I just didn't pay attention to it.
So anyway, I don't remember either any arrests like this. I don't remember.
It wasn't as large as this, though, was it?
It was big.
Well, no, I didn't ask if it was big.
They have candidates that are in Congress and everywhere.
They were certainly more organized.
Yeah, well, definitely more organized. Now, the thing is, I think the Occupy movement is, now that it's getting a little more problematic, once you go against law enforcement, you've lost me. That's it. Done. I don't care. The first cop that gets hit,
I don't think they've gone against law enforcement.
Goodbye. I don't care about you guys anymore. That's me.
I don't think that's quite the right...
Well, but that's my thinking.
But I don't think they're going against law enforcement.
They have been doing stuff to law enforcement. When I heard about the rapes, I cannot believe you haven't heard about that.
I haven't.
Well, research it. You have your computer right there.
I wanted to say something. Where you did you? I don't know if you saw it. Representative Ted Dutch from Florida is the one who introduced the constitutional amendment to ban corporate money in politics, by the way.
Good. I think they should.
Yes, I think that's great. That's one thing. Do we disagree on something? I think that is awesome. I think I think most of the problems in the United States that we're having, financial and political, are because of corporations buying politicians.
Okay.
But there's a quote by, it's attributed to Gandhi. If you research it, it's... some people say it wasn't him. Some people say it doesn't matter. But he has a quote. It says, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. And that you can watch this whole Occupy movement, and at the very beginning, it was pretty much ignored. People said, and then they were made fun of. Now I say I'm not part of the movement. Now they're being fought. So it's kind of funny how we're going right along the line. So we'll have to see what comes next.
Well, a poll came out today from USA Today, and you have the link there in front of you in case you want to double check. 6 in 10 Americans are indifferent, about the Occupy movement. So 6 in 10 people don't even know what it's about or care what it's about.
You could probably bring up a lot of stuff that's going on, and if you interviewed most people, I bet you'd find 6 in 10 indifferent to whatever it was.
Oh, that's true. But
you
I'm
know,
just
so
saying,
I don't know how much this really says. I don't think this really says anything.
Well, I think
you could
what
say,
it is,
you know,
is if you ask, you know, like I know this last 3 weeks that I was gone, I was talking to my dad a lot and talking to a lot of people over the country. And in Dallas, you know, they have a big Occupy movement. We were there. Well, it's not that big. You know, we say big. It's only a couple hundred people.
Yeah. See, the problem is not everybody is like you, and not everybody like is searching and looking for stuff like that. Most people just, you know, unless it's right in front of their face, they don't pay attention. So when you say 6 and 10, right here it says 56% say they neither support nor oppose the movement or have no opinion. It's because they don't really understand what it is. They don't really know what it is.
I don't think anybody really understands it because they never really came out with something.
They haven't been as organized as the Tea Parties and stuff like that. But I know you said that last time.
They're not even close.
But if you research it, for someone like you to say you have no idea what they stand for is not true.
Because they pounce all over the place.
Of course,
and I have.
yeah.
If you research Occupy America,
but
you're going to find people who are
right.
doing it because they want nudism. We talked about that. You're going to find people who did it. Now, I do like the one thing that the senator came up with. If that's what it was all about,
that's what the
good
that's
for you
what
guys.
the,
Until
that's
you touch the cop. Good for you guys.
That's what this whole thing is based on, is the fact that they're tired of politicians buying our politics.
If that's what it was based on, then that's what they should have come out with. But now they have.
The problem is they're trying
upset about everything in the world different. They don't like capitalism. They don't like. I mean,
they don't like crony capitalism.
Well, what do you do? Because now, guess what? You're losing everything. You need to get control of what you have.
I think most of these people feel like they don't have anything.
You know, I listened to an interview last week from it was former Mayor Rudy Giuliani was on one of the talk shows, and
I'm sure it was Fox.
Do you know what he said? He said the movement never would have started because there is a city ordinance: no sleeping in the park. Bloomberg allowed them to stay there. He said they would have been out. Boom, gone. You cannot sleep in the park. You do not have a First Amendment right to infringe on others' rights. Now, there is some judges in New York that have been also talking about that. They want to know. They're asking the police departments, and this is, I don't know why they're getting involved, because usually, the judges don't, but they had asked the police department to arrest anyone who's infringing on the rights of others. So if you're defecating, if you're stopping somebody from going into work,
first of all, if you're defecating in public, you shouldn't be doing that. You know
exactly.
And I don't care if you're there for whatever reason you're there. You know, if you're raping women, and I guarantee you that the majority of I say the vast majority of the people are not pro women rape and pro defecating in park.
I'm sure they're not.
They're going to have a couple. You have a couple bad apples.
I don't think it's a couple. I think it's a higher percentage than just one or two.
I don't.
Really?
Yeah. Good thing, the thing is, neither one of us know what the number is.
That's true, and nobody ever will know the number. Right. But the thing is,
I don't think it's as large as you think it is, and you don't think it's as small as I think it is. Let's agree about that.
I think that they are now that both parties, well, Republicans were never for them, but now that parties are starting to pull away, now that the news is starting to,
parties aren't starting to pull away. Nobody aligned themselves with the Occupy people. Nobody has.
Well,
nobody has. Name one.
All right.
Find me one.
All right. Yeah, find you one
that has find me a politician that has aligned themselves with the Occupy.
I take
people.
that as a personal challenge.
I'm not saying there isn't one, but I would like you. I would like you to find me one.
Anyway,
who's aligned themselves with the Occupy movement.
Okay, I will.
Okay.
And I think you're going to be very surprised because I do know what I've heard.
You might find one.
No, I know what I've heard, but I don't want to until I see it in print.
Wow.
I don't want to do it. Yeah.
Is this a new?
No, it's not a new. I am always that way. I don't know why you're like that. If it's not in print, I don't ever say it. I don't go off of radio shows. I have to see it in print. We've always been that way.
All right,
whatever. Let's go to the next one. I do believe the Occupy movement, though, is starting to lose its momentum. I think what's happening now is the few,
I'll tell you what,
bad apples are ruining it.
If this gets introduced and this amendment actually goes forth and they stop corporations from being able to buy politicians, then this was a huge success for you and for me and for America.
If they succeed, you're right.
Yes.
Okay, you brought this one up. You want to talk about this. This is Herman Cain has major oops movement on Libya.
Now, do you want to play the video? Do you want to play the video?
No, I don't.
Have you watched the video?
Yes, I've watched the video.
What do you think of it?
Who hasn't seen the video?
Now, we talked about, this is one of the few things that we talked about before the show. Has this been on any of the news channels? Because I watch them every morning.
Let me tell you,
and I didn't see it on any of them.
You never saw this.
I'm not kidding.
This has been plastered on the news. They have been talking about this. MSNBC, CBS, NBC, CNN. They all have had this on there.
You left somebody out.
Oh, Fox News.
I don't think that they've been talking about it.
Well, I tell you what.
I'm not saying they've never mentioned it, but I couldn't find the video on Fox News because I looked for it today. So you show me if you find it.
All right. Well, let's talk about it.
I'll talk about, let's see here. Well, one of the things is he was asked about Libya.
Okay.
And he didn't really know what to say. The only thing he knew what to say was he disagreed with Obama. But he didn't know why.
Oh, no, wait, that's not the right one.
No, it's not.
Okay. And?
It's not on there.
Well, but now here's the thing. He's a presidential candidate.
Right.
Do you think a presidential candidate knows as much as the person in office?
No. Now,
do you think a presidential candidate should know as much as a person in office?
Nope.
Exactly.
I think that if he's going to say he disagrees with somebody about somebody and he disagrees with the decision they made, he should at least know why.
Well,
and he should know what their stand was on it because he didn't even know that.
I think you're right. He should have been.
He should have said.
They actually have advisors that keep them going.
He should have said, I don't have an opinion on that, or as bad as that would sound, it would have been better than what he said, which was he looked like an idiot. He looked like an absolute idiot. He had to ask him, now, Obama supported the rebels, right? He didn't know. The only thing he knew was he disagreed with what Obama did, but he didn't know what Obama did. Well, and that looked very bad.
Well, whatever. I mean,
that
it's been all over the news, and that was his thing, and it obviously.
And they first came out and said that the reason why he wasn't able to come up with an answer was he was too tired because of lack of sleep. And then, which I thought was funny, is he said the question wasn't specific. And if you watch the video, it wasn't like they were grilling him. I remember when George W. Bush was running for doing the primaries, and somebody, no, this is something you're gonna like. Well, somebody was asking him. It was kind of a setup. They said, "Who's the president of it?" And they were just throwing out these stuff that people wouldn't know.
Stuff, okay.
Which to me, I watched that and I said, that's not fair. How is he supposed to know all that stuff? And what they're trying to do is show that he's an idiot and show he doesn't know, and to me, that was not fair with that. Whatever that guy did, and I don't remember the exact questions. I just remember watching it and thinking, that's not really fair. How's he expected to know that? But that's not what this case was. This was just a very informal, interview. It wasn't like they were grilling him. He had said that he disagreed with Obama's stance on Libya. They asked him why, and he didn't even know what his stance was on Libya. I think that, he kind of walked himself into that,
Well, here's a question for you then. What happened in Egypt?
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not running for president. What do you mean?
I'm just asking you that question.
What
happened in Syria?
What does that have to do? I'm not running for president.
It has nothing to do with it. But that's the next question of what you popped up, and I want you to.
Well, what I'm telling you is I didn't say. But did I tell you that I disagreed or agreed with anybody on any of that stuff?
No.
Because I don't know.
I know. Okay, so let's go to the thing that you popped up earlier today, because I want to talk about this now. Because of this one.
Well, I want to talk about that too, but I want to stay on this though.
Well, Herman Cain. Here's the reason why.
I want to ask if you're still on the Cain train.
I still like Herman Cain. Yeah. It's funny.
That doesn't bother you? That didn't bother you at all?
Oh, it bothers me because I think his people should have been better on it. But, I mean, come on. You can't know everything about everything.
No. But if you're going to say that you disagree with somebody about something, you should know why.
He fundamentally disagrees about everything.
That is not what a president, that is not what you should want your president to be.
No, but they do.
You shouldn't want him to say, well, what was Obama for that? All right, then I'm the other, because that's basically what he did.
I know.
And you really want a president that's like that?
You don't think they're all like that?
You want a president that proves that he's like that?
But they're like,
you want a president that there's evidence that he's like that?
I like Herman Cain. I mean, is he going to be the president? I don't know.
You think he'd make a good president?
I think he would. I don't like Mitt Romney. I don't know what to do about it.
Doesn't matter. You're going to vote for him. He's going to be the candidate.
Nah, you know who I think is going to be the candidate?
Gingrich. He's got all sorts of skeletons. I can't wait for that.
So what are they going to bring out? What are they going to
say? Let me tell you what. I'm rooting for Cain and Gingrich. That's who I am rooting for.
Let me tell you something.
That gives Obama such a much better chance.
What skeletons are they going to come up with? That he cheated on his wife?
While he was trying to...
Did we have a president that was doing that too?
While he was trying to impeach the president for doing the same thing. That's very funny.
You know what, though? He was impeaching the president for lying under oath.
That's not what he was saying, though.
What?
I know that's what he was doing. But he was coming out...
Look, you know what? Here's something that the Democrats cannot do. Never, ever, ever. Someone's cheating on their wife. They can't say nothing about it.
Republicans can't either. There's so many Republicans that came out.
What I'm saying
do you remember when after that all went down, do you remember, what's his name? Larry Flint from Hustler offered $1 million to anyone who could prove that there was a Republican congressman or senator that was cheating. And a few people came forward, and a few of them had to resign.
Well, yeah.
I just thought that was very hypocritical. Yeah. These are guys that were all out there,
But see, here's the thing.
It's not a democratic thing. Cheating on your wife is not a democratic thing.
It's just a human thing.
It's a human thing.
The thing is, what they got Clinton on was the fact that he lied under oath.
Right.
And that's it. Had he not done that, there would have been never anything. It would have been like, there's a scandal. Look what happened to LBJ, or to LBJ, excuse me. Sorry. To FDR. God, why can't I say
JFK? Different times.
Nobody cared? They're like, wow, this guy's a playboy.
Yeah, but there's not. It was different times. It would have been handled differently nowadays, and it would have.
Oh, I don't think so. If JFK was back right now, he would be having a fit over what's going on out there. All right. He was actually an extremely good president. So... That was when
almost as good as Clinton.
Clinton was good too.
Clinton was very good.
But that was when the Democrats were actually a good organization. Because they were. I think during. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. I think
Right.
Okay, but we are going to talk about this because now I do want to talk about the former AIG chief suing over the bailout.
We are really running out.
Who the heck is that guy? I think he is. But we're going to run out of time. I want you to talk about this. You pop this up. I want you to talk about it because we got to get this out.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead and bring it up. You read it.
Okay, this is from Littleboy, but it was actually from the Huffington Post. Fox News viewers know less than people who don't watch any news. Study says. Boy, it's unbelievable. Let me get my little thing up here. Let me open this up, the Huffington Post. Okay, so here's what happened. A poll was done out of 612 New Jerseyans from the Fairleigh Dickinson University. It surveyed New Jersey residents about Egypt and the Middle East and where they received their news from. The poll said that 18% of the people who watched Fox News were incorrect on what happened in Egypt and the Middle East. Those are only two that they went over. Said that 53% of all respondents knew that the Egyptians successfully overthrew their president. 48% knew that the Syrians have not yet overthrew their government. But 18% of the ones who watched Fox News were incorrect.
Well, that's not the poll that I was referring to, actually. I didn't send you that.
You did. This is exactly what you sent to me.
Okay, but that's not, okay. That's the article that I had found because I know you like articles. That's not the actual poll that I was referring to.
What poll are you referring to? You're referring
to there's been multiple polls actually on this subject because this subject's been going around for a while. Stanford University in December 2010 did a study that found that frequent viewers of Fox News are less likely to accept scientists' view on global warming. Ohio State University in October 2010 did a poll did a study and found that Fox News contributed to the spread of rumors about proposed New York City mosque. CNN and NPR promoted more accurate beliefs and the belief and rumors associated with the opposition in the New York City mosques and to mosques in general. PIPA, who is a program of international policy and attitudes. This was back in October 2003. Now, this one I heard a lot about because that's back when I used to listen to Al Franken, and he talked about this one a lot. Did a study, and the extent of that came to the conclusion the extent of Americans' misperceptions vary significantly depending on their source of news. Those who receive the most of their news from Fox News are more likely than average to have misperceptions. Those who receive most of their news from NPR or PBS are less likely to have misperceptions. And then worldpublicopinion.org in 2010, December 2010, came to the conclusion that Fox News watchers were the most informed on the 2010 election. Okay. So it's actually been multiple studies, not just that one. Well, I didn't even cite that one. That one does, the way, I hadn't read that one, the way that one sounds pretty ridiculous, actually.
Well, here's what I have to say. On TV, the largest, most watched network is Fox News. Why? Because it's more conservative, and this country is split in half. The other,
you know what? That's the first time you've ever even said that Fox. You've always said that Fox News is right down the middle. You've never said that they're more conservative. Balanced,
but they are conservative news. I like it because
if they're conservative news, they're not fair and balanced.
But nobody. We talked about this before.
Right?
Nobody is. Exactly
I've said that. You have always said Fox News is down the middle.
If you are the biggest of anything, you get attacked. In the radio.
That's not why they're attacked.
No, well, because we're going to go over these statistics. All right. Now we're not going to go over everyone that you came up with because you're coming up with polls you didn't send in.
No, I didn't.
We're going over the ones that we both went over. Now, here's the deal.
I just wanted you to know that there's been multiple studies on it. It's not just that one study.
Every single one of those studies, I guarantee you, I can show you a study that's against it.
Okay.
Because that's how it is.
That's how it is.
Do that. Well, I'm going to show you on this one because this one we're already on.
Okay.
Right? Because even on this particular one, this one was done by WFDWFM. Their motto is the right place to be on the left side of your dial.
Okay.
All right. So there you go. It's the right place to be on the left side of your dial.
You know what sounds funny is that's one thing that I'll give them credit for up front because I've never listened to them. It's the fact that at least they're out there and they're open. They are.
Say exactly where it is.
That's what was one thing I really liked about Air America.
Of this study, too, this is a study that they know less, whatever, that I was interested to see that the Daily Show actually, that people were getting information from the Daily Show because even the producer of the Daily Show said, well, you know, we're not really a news show. We're kind of for entertainment purposes. And he said, we don't spend any time on any direct subject. We make fun of it. What they basically model their thing after is that after Saturday Night Live's Weekend Update, but they just make an hour show of it.
Sure.
So I see that's funny to me that people take their news from that, but hey, whatever. He's not lying about the news. He's telling what it really is. I mean, he puts a little spin on it.
Sure, he does.
And he is. You
can actually learn a lot from watching that show.
Yeah, and he is liberal, but he throws out the news. All right. Now, on this particular study that we're talking about here, they put a huge disclaimer in there. This was the headline they popped out, but they wanted to let everybody know 4 or 5 sentences down that with the MSNBC poll, this poll was dedicated towards Fox News, but their numbers came up exactly the same for MSNBC on other things. So basically, they found that on these two things, what happened in Syria and what happened in Egypt, people didn't know.
Okay.
But on the other side, of the 162 people, only 15% were Republican. Okay, that's a huge change in numbers there.
Okay.
And they also said, or 18%, excuse me. They also said the MSNBC watchers, which was a huge number, of them, 40% believed that the people at the Occupy protests were Republican.
Okay.
So, this poll.
They certainly sound although I don't think there's any news outlet out there that is pushing that the Occupy protesters are Republican. No, I don't think you'll find that anywhere.
There isn't. So
you won't find that anywhere.
And they also did this poll in New Jersey, which is a blue state, has been a blue state, although they have had Republican governors for quite some time.
Yeah.
So this particular one, I don't know. If the liberal media has dominated television, Fox News came around. They just had their anniversary, which was their 20-year anniversary, I think, or 15-year anniversary. They came around. They didn't expect them to stay up. I remember that Clinton wouldn't go on there because he didn't want to legitimize the network. Obama actually was the first Democrat to go on it. You know,
I'm not sure if that's
somebody
true.
big, you know, like a presidential candidate at the time. He was the only one. No one, you know, maybe a senator here or a congressman, but I'm talking about president. I mean, you get a president on your show's, you know, good. I mean, it's done. He's the first one that ever did it because they didn't want to legitimize it. Fox News has grown huge. Like I said, it's a #1 rated TV show. It's a #1 seen cable show.
You know, I don't have a problem with Fox News.
Now,
just
you do because you constantly
here's what my
complain about it. Let me finish.
Here's
I'm
what
not done yet.
okay.
Now, we could also agree that radio shows are almost 90% or if not more conservative. So
I'll accept that number because I know it's very high. I don't know if you can even find a liberal one in San Diego.
Air America used to be.
Yeah, they're not even in San Diego.
And so basically,
it was a tough nut to crack for Air America because of most listeners are conservative. They just
the Republicans dominated radio. The Democrats or liberals, excuse me,
I don't think it was the same domomination though.
Well,
you're talking 90-10 radio, and everybody talks about liberal news and stuff.
Now we're on TV, and on TV it's 50% because they are the highest rate. More people watch Fox than any other station, so that's 50%, right? I mean, or whatever. It's just a higher number.
Okay.
So of course they're going to get fought out. They're going to get shot down. They're going to get hit in every which way they can. But every single poll that you come up with, there's another one about the other side of it. I mean, I think it's ridiculous to say that people don't know what's going on in Egypt because they watch a particular program.
That sounds pretty ridiculous.
That was ridiculous.
I agree with that.
And also there was another one done by University of Maryland that was the same kind of thing, saying that, you know, people who watch this don't know, who watch Fox News don't know a lot about world events because they don't watch the Saturday shows.
Well, I know the big thing on the what's it called, the PIPA report. They're not that's not Democratic or Republican. That's nonpartisan. I know it was back in 2003, but there was a big deal made about that because that's a nonpartisan company.
PIPA, huh?
Yeah. No, PIPA.
All right.
So my biggest issue with Fox News is the fact that if you know, one of the things that's very, very, that I respected a lot about Air America, we've talked about this before, I believe, on air, is they leaned very left.
And they told you that.
And they said that. Yeah. They said we're liberal talk radio. Right. But you have Fox leans very right.
No.
Not just a little right. They lean very right.
No.
Yes, they do.
No.
And they say fair and balanced. And everybody that listens to them thinks the same or watches them says, I watch them because they're fair and balanced. And they're not. Watch them if you like them, fine. Just like O'Reilly. My brother loves Bill O'Reilly, but there's no way that he can really believe that O'Reilly is an independent just telling you like it is. He's not. Bill O'Reilly.
In your opinion, he's not.
Right.
But that's it. That's the end of it.
That's what it's about. This is what this is about. My opinion. That's what I'm telling you.
In your opinion.
Yes, that's what the whole damn show is. Or at least half of it. Right? Right?
But the thing is, you constantly push your opinion on others. It's your opinion.
Only 50% of the time here. The other 50% of the time, I'm defending yours. I'm deflecting yours.
Listen, here's the thing.
That's what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you my opinion. None of this is the way it is. This is the way we think. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Calm down, little boy. Calm down.
Jeez, you keep throwing that out there. For the record, everything on the show is our opinion. There, I've said it. Now you don't have to keep saying it every time I say something.
But that's your opinion. All right, calm down. We're getting this show.
You're lucky. You're lucky. We got the clean rating on our podcast.
All right. Okay, I think we've way out of time here, little boy.
Yeah, We don't have the with the new system. We have no idea how long we've been going.
We have no idea. I think this has been hours. Yeah. I'm bored of it now. So. All right, let's talk a little bit about the new studio.
Yes.
We are in the process of building a new studio right now. It's going to take about 2 to 3 months to be completed.
I got some equipment I brought over that came in the mail this week that we had ordered.
We got some stuff, other stuff going on. We're going to have a whole new studio, lighting, cameras. There'll be multiple angles. Boy, I'm excited.
Maybe expansion
about it.
show wise. There's all sorts of stuff.
Yeah,
I don't want to talk about too much. We have lots of plans we've talked about. You know. And if we can just accomplish 10% of them, it would be pretty awesome.
10% I feel is a win.
Yes. Yes.
Let's go over some stuff real quick. You guys could always contact us at fatmanandlittleboy.com.
Yes.
You can give us an email at comments@fatmanandlittleboy.com.
You can email me directly also at littleboy@fatmanandlittleboy.com, or you can, if you'd want to, email Fatman directly at fatman@fatmanandlittleboy.com. Remember, that's PH.
And you have our two you have the show on Twitter at PLMB Crew on Twitter, and you have me on Twitter at Fatman Show.
And I'm at Littleboy Show.
And of course, always we're on YouTube as PLMB Enterprises. On
all
YouTube.
one word.
We do ask that you go through.
Yeah.
Oh, PMLB. I'm sorry, our producer just said I'm an idiot. So
I do that all the time.
Taking Littleboy's side, are you? All right, I see how it is. All right, so PMLB. I have no idea why I got that backwards.
I do it always the wrong way too.
All right, Littleboy. As always, it's been a great show.
Yes.
I enjoyed it. Next week we'll be back. We'll be on weekly again.
Yeah.
So
if you stop being so selfish and leaving town.
Somebody has to go out and do what has to be done.
Okay. I forgot. Notre Dame had to be visited.
Is there anything else you want to talk about today?
No, I think we've pretty much covered it. And there's so much stuff on here that we haven't talked about. We'll have to save it for the next show.
What do you think? Should we put our show notes up so people can see our show notes?
Oh, that's our little secret. That's our little secret behind the wall here.
Oh, I want to show everybody. See, I am open and free. Let everybody see whatever they want. Littleboy is all closed up.
Yep, behind the curtain.
He's behind the curtain.
I'm the Wizard of Oz.
You know what's funny? Before, when we first started to televise, I remember how nervous you were. Like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
You know, and me, yeah, let's get out there.
Yes. Yeah, you're more of the let's do this, let's do that, and I'm the more of the let's just keep things the way they are.
All right, well, Littleboy, it's been fun.
It has been fun.
All right, and we hope you enjoyed this show
as much as we did.
And we will see you real soon.
Take care.